Hello and welcome to Game Week 7. Last week I got 2 points, which I think is my worst week since I've been doing this. So not a good thing. Take me to a total of 30 points. We kicked this week off with Bournemouth versus Fulham. So Bournemouth last week they drew to Leeds. I did predict them to score 2 goals, but I did not see them conceding 2 goals. I think that was Bournemouth's worst game of the season so far, so not good on them. But last week was even worse for Fulham. They ended up losing to Aston Villa after getting the lead and conceding 3 goals to a team who barely scores. They only had 1 goal before that game. And when these two teams face at the Vitality Stadium, Bournemouth have won their last 3. So I'm keeping that trend going, and I'm going to say 2-1 win to Bournemouth. Next up is Leeds versus Spurs. Leeds first up. Like I said, they managed to get a point against Bournemouth at home. So Leeds at home have not lost. So they have gotten a point every single time they played at home. And this game is also at home. As for Spurs, they have been dropping down in form a bit. Against Wolves, they drew. Against Brighton, where they should have won, people were saying, they drew as well. And then now, yesterday, they drew against Bodo Glimt. So a lot of draws, a lot of late goals for them as well. They got 2 late goals in the last 2 games. So they're not in the best of spots right now. And considering Leeds have been scoring more recently in their last 2 games, I think Leeds can't break down Spurs. So I think they're going to split the points here, and I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Next up is United versus Sunderland. United, wow, just awful. I expected way better against Brentford. They ended up conceding 3. 2 of those were because of Bayern. You got to put the blame on Bayern. And the only positive you can really take out the game was that Sesko got his first goal in the Prem. As for Sunderland, they ended up beating Forest. Good point for them, or good 3 points for them, especially because it was away. So Sunderland have been a great team. Away from home, they have been hard to beat. They have only conceded 2 goals. But for this matchup, I just see United being desperate. They need something. I feel like they need something to keep them going, right? They got to win against Chelsea, but it was due to the red card. They lost to Brentford. Before that, they lost to City, and then they went to 3-2 to Burnley. So they have been struggling to just be better than their opponent. But I don't see that changing here against Sunderland. I do think it's going to be a high-scoring game, even though Sunderland do have low-scoring games when they're away. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. Next up is Arsenal versus West Ham. Arsenal have been, I think, the best team in my opinion so far in all comps. Even though West Ham usually is Arsenal's bogey team. In their last 2 times they faced at the Emirates, West Ham have won. But this West Ham is going to have a different play style. They're going to be sitting back and then countering. Well, I think they've been doing that majority of the time when they face Arsenal. But I think that's what they're going to do this time around. But I don't think it's going to be enough for West Ham. I think Arsenal's going to win here. And I think they don't even get a goal. I'm going to go for a 3-0 win to Arsenal. Next up is Chelsea versus Liverpool. I think the game of the game week. Or at least it should have been, because both teams' form is just garbage. Yes, Chelsea did beat Benfica just yesterday or 2 days ago. But they did struggle to beat them. And it was an own goal to get the win. At the predicted lineups here, they have George Buonanotte in, no João Pedro, Garnacho on the wing. Their center back pairing is not great. I mean, these guys are struggling. But it's the same for Liverpool. They lost their last 2 games, one against Crystal Palace and then yesterday or 2 days ago against Galatasaray. And deserved losses as well. They were awful in both the games. But I think Liverpool are lucky here that Chelsea are just as bad as them. Considering both teams are in terrible form, I think Liverpool will edge it here. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Liverpool. Next up is Everton versus Crystal Palace. Everton have been slowing down in terms of just getting results. They have not won in their last 4. Could have won against West Ham last week, but they ended up drawing because, I mean, Bowen always does something. As for Crystal, they stay undefeated. They dismantle Liverpool. Great game from them. They do have a Europa game or Conference League game, whichever it is. At this point, I don't remember. But I don't think that changes anything for this Everton game. Everton have had the better of Crystal Palace at home, but this is a new stadium. Could change things a little bit. And just the way Crystal Palace is playing right now I don't see many teams beating them or getting the best of them. They are away as well, so I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I'm going to go for a 1-0 win to Crystal Palace. Next up is Newcastle versus Forest. Newcastle have been struggling. They did get 4 goals against Saint Gilloise, which was good on them. Voltemade has been looking great, but I mean, they are a shadow of their former selves from like previous seasons, but so is their opponents, Forest. They lost against Sunderland last week, and still Ange hasn't gotten a win under his new team. And they do have Europa League, I think, or Conference, whichever it is, to play today. That could affect them as well for this game. But for this matchup, it's going to be at St. James's Park. I think Forest aren't going to sit back like you would expect them to do under Nuno. They're going to be going at Newcastle and trying to get the win. I think it's going to be back and forth, but both teams have been struggling to score. I think it's going to be low scoring, but a draw. 1-1 draw. Next up is Wolves versus Brighton. Wolves, they ended up getting a draw against Spurs. They could have gotten the win, but they conceded very late against Spurs through Paulinho. As for Brighton, they ended up beating Chelsea, but I think that was mainly due to the red card. I don't think Brighton would have gotten the win if Chelsea kept their man, but it happened and they ended up winning. But Brighton at this moment are very mid-table to me. They can score, but they can concede. It's a goal fest, a lot of Brighton's games right now, and I see this being very similar to those. I do see Brighton winning as well, because Brighton have beaten them in their last 4 games at the Molineux, but I'm gonna go for a high-scoring 3-2 win to Brighton. Next up is Villa versus Burnley. Villa finally get a win in the league. They finally get a win against Fulham, scoring 3 goals on Fulham as well. They only had 1 goal previously, and now they have 4. Their scoring form has been picking up as well. They got in, I think it's 6 in their last 4, so that's good on them. And they're also going to be playing Europa League, so that could affect them for this game, so keep that in mind. But Burnley, on the other hand, are awful away. They haven't won a game. They've lost all 3 games, and they conceded 11 goals. So considering Villa have been picking it up a little bit, I do think they're going to edge. And Burnley being awful away, I think Villa will win here. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Villa. Next up is Brentford versus City and the last game of the game week. Brentford beating the other side of Manchester last week, scoring 3 goals. Do have to say that 2 of those were lucky in my opinion. One of Thiago's goal and then Jensen's goal. But overall, Brentford haven't been great. As for City, we have been picking it up week by week. Defensively, we have gotten better. I know we just lost to Monaco, but one of those goals was a wonder shot, and then the other one was a pen. So still, I think defensively we can say we are decent. But come on, this is Brentford. We have to be beating Brentford. But these guys sort of get some points from us. They have beaten us and drawn in their last 4 games, while City got the other 2 wins. But I think that's because Thomas Frank was in charge, but he's no longer there. So I'm going to go ahead and say 3-1 win to City. And those are my predictions for Game Week 7. Tell me what you guys think in the comments. Leave a like, subscribe, and peace.